Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to Thursday, the 26th of June, 2025. I am Delbridge with Benchmark Realty, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I think we got a good show today. We're going to keep it a little bit lighthearted. We do have a new camera, and it looks like my beard disappeared just momentarily, but we may have to have some things adjusted before it's over. So what do you say we get over into Studio K and get this thing done with? If you like this content, please go to CallDelToSell.com, find the tab that says on YouTube, click it, and it'll open up a page of QR codes. There you can use a smartphone to scan and get to the YouTube page, or you can just mouse over and click it on a PC. There you'll be able to subscribe to this little button over here and click the notification bell so that YouTube will notify you. Thank you. Well, today's news, I've got an article that I really want your opinion to see if I'm on track or off track. I can certainly tell you what I think about it and why, but then I really would like to have some feedback from your standpoint on this. Let's go straight to it. Well, here we are at NBC, their main page for real estate, and the recent news is this right here. Trump administration moves to count crypto as a federal mortgage asset. And while this loads up and I pull this up here, I just want to say I'm not sure I agree with this. I don't think this is a very good idea, and you might not agree with me. You may just take just the opposite, and you're certainly welcome to do it. I'm not going to fuss about that in any shape, form, or fashion. But the headline is Trump. Why did it jump on me like that? Trump administration moves to count crypto as a federal mortgage asset. The order directs Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. These are our government-sponsored enterprises. These are the ones we bailed out in 2008 when they had a lot of bad loans out there. We set up the FHFA as an assurance that we would never do stupid stuff again. So Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae to develop proposals that include digital assets without requiring borrowers to convert them into U.S. dollars before a loan closes. See, that's the part I don't like. I don't mind using an asset, but real estate is real. That's why it's real estate, not fake estate. Okay, it's a real thing. If you buy a stock in GE or Tesla or any of these companies, Canoe, if they're still in business, they were the ones who were out of California trying to make mail buses and whatever. What is the barista, the coffee company that Starbucks, whatever, a real company that represents a real something. There is something there. There is an asset there. Even a service, like, I don't know, Service Masters on the exchange, but each one of these things, these really exist. But when it comes to crypto, they don't exist. And I've had other people who are crypto pros, and they really try to convince me that I'm just an idiot and I don't understand how it all works. And it's a great asset to make money off of. They'll tell me that, well, fiat money doesn't really represent anything either. And I would say, yes, but it's actually a currency. It is a fiat currency, the pound sterling, or the yuan, the Chinese yuan, or the dollar, the Canadian dollar, the Australian dollar, the Scottish dollar. All of these things are truly currency. They do trade in currency. We could take a paper something and give it to someone and get a transaction. Now, I know because of the people who want to push the crypto are trying to even go cashless society for two reasons. One reason, if everything goes through a bank, if everything goes through a central bank controlled computer system, they can trace everybody's money, and you're not going to skip out on cheating the government your tax dollars. I think that's a big push. But it also then, it kind of conflates a real currency with a crypto. A crypto is something we say with blockchain or however they want to structure it. They say it exists and it represents something. But in many cases, we don't even know who's behind it. So we don't know who to get mad at. We can get mad at the Fed because they're political, and because come right before the election they said we won't lower the rates until it hits 2%, but yet the election comes and they drop it 3 times for a full percentage. And now that we're actually at 2%, just to be a jerkwad or whatever it is, we're not lowering the rates when it really are at about 2%. Now, imagine the manipulation that could go on with a crypto. We don't know. I mean, is it there? When it goes down to houses, as it says here, the problem is that could just evaporate overnight. It's not likely that the Americas or Britain or the UK or Australia can evaporate overnight. Even China with their financial problems, they're not going to evaporate overnight. But there's no one really behind that we know this stuff. And when we look at, like, do you know who the Hawk Tuah girl was? She had her 15 minutes of fame. Well, she apparently was sort of like the face on a crypto launch. And as soon as it got launched, the people who had the initial crypto bailed and cashed out on all the money and the whole thing collapsed. So that's sort of the problem I have with this concept is, in 2008, why did it roll up there again? In 2008, I do need to give Mackenzie Siagos of CNBC credit for this, and the date line on this I think was yesterday or today, June 26th. That's actually today. Okay, so I knew it was fairly new. It's the top of the list. But in 2008, when the two big GSEs were about to go belly up, they were insolvent because we had had such a big boom leading up to it. The market shifted a little bit, and then people got caught holding the bag, and we, the taxpayers, had to bail them out. They made this FHA, the Federal Housing Finance Administration, to make sure we didn't do stupid stuff again. And here we have Trump now suggesting he wants to take cryptos as assets. Now, you might think that might be great if you have some crypto and you're riding high right now, but that's so volatile. What happens if it's paramount in your transaction and it just flips just real quick? That there's a little divot in the value. That could be a problem in my mind. Now, maybe if it's limited to a certain amount, maybe 5% or 10%, you have to have twice the holdings, whatever it is. Say if you want to credit $100,000 of crypto, you have to have 200,000 or something like that. I don't know how they would do it, but there really just isn't anything there. And although we haven't really crashed permanently, we have seen some very serious volatility, and we, the taxpayer, could be on the hook if suddenly that non-cashed in crypto was drops in value. We wouldn't have anything to secure the loan anymore. And it says a landmark shift for the Housing Finance Administration, the Federal Housing Finance Agency, has issued a directive ordering Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, those are the two GSEs, there's one more, to consider cryptocurrency as an asset for single-family mortgage loan risk assessment. Even then, even if we do something like this, maybe we could find a happy medium. Maybe we could do this, but only for your primary home. What does that? Maybe we could find some compromise. We only lose when we can't talk about stuff. So maybe if we did a compromise, so you could only do a certain percentage, and you had to have more than an amount of it just in case we had some fluctuations, and you could only do it on your primary home, so that you couldn't do it for investment homes, vacation homes, multifamily homes. If you wanted to, buy commercial real estate, and we're talking about Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae, so they're going to be pretty well much single family home. Although Freddie Mac does have a multifamily group there that they do that as well. So the move signed by FHFA Director William J. Pooley, I don't know how to say his name. I haven't heard his name. But anyway, it signals a new era of crypto integration into traditional financing and infrastructure. This time within the core of the home lending, American home lending. I'm just not sure. I think this is a good idea. I would really like to hear you discuss with me, especially if you disagree with my assessment. You think it's great. because we the taxpayers bailed out Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae when they went insolvent in 2008. I just don't want to see a repeat of that. The order directs both the housing finance giants to develop proposals that include digital assets without requiring borrowers to liquidate them into dollars prior to the loan closing. Well, see, that's the problem that I have. Is if you use crypto, we could do that now. You just cash it in, take your money, and put real money, real American money, on your purchase, which means the buyer gets real money that they don't have to worry about will the volatility drop it to nothing, and the seller doesn't have to worry about suddenly the deal falling through because they can't put their hands on that, $100,000, $200,000 money that they were counting on to this buyer was counting on using for the sale of the house. It can't just disappear. They know they have a certainty with it without using the crypto. Now, if you cash it in, it's dollars. It doesn't count anymore. I mean, it doesn't matter anymore. We've got it. This is the situation that I'm just not sure. I just don't know if this is a smart thing to do. Pulte, I guess I'll give him that way. I apologize, sir. I'm not abusing your name. Said in a post on X that the move aligns with President Donald Trump's vision to make the United States the crypto capital of the world. Gosh, people, I'm just telling you, I don't know. I get it. A lot of people carry it as wealth in their portfolios. They feel comfortable with it. They've been buying and speculating it. But unlike, Tesla, who builds cars. You can argue whether they're good cars or not, but they build cars. GM, same thing with GM or Nissan or Toyota. Anyway, they make a product. Or stock in media companies. They have a sort of a product that is the service of information, and vice versa. Meta, Alphabet, all of these companies, there's something there. There's something there, but with a crypto, it's just pure speculation, And I'm not real happy with I've got friends who will say, "What? It's sort of like the fiat currency of America." That's true, but at least we have a country behind it, like the pound sterling in the UK, or the Scottish dollar, or the Australian dollar, the Canadian dollar. There's a country. We know kind of who to go yell at if they're not doing right, or to have a little heads up if they're being flaky with their policies. We have a clue. Crypto. The only thing that makes crypto worth anything is some other person willing to buy it. Now, do you want to put that in on your transaction of your home when it could poof overnight? I don't have a problem if they want to convert it to the pound sterling or the Canadian dollar or whatever. But just to leave it in there as if it means something when it kind of doesn't, I just don't know about that. We do see the politics in our fiat money with our current Fed chair. He said that rates were higher, and so was inflation. But yet, right before the election, he cuts it a percentage point in 3 moves. Said he won't do it, but now the inflation is actually like a 50% lower, closer to 2 than 3. Now he won't lower the target rates at all. Politics has a huge part in it, but in any government's economy, I just don't know how do you deal with the risk in crypto or one of the others. Are you familiar with this young lady who was the Hawk Tua girl? She was involved with a real scam. Some people got with her to be the front person, and the initial people who had all the coinage, they just printed up because it was nothing. It was just computer numbers. It went out on the initial sale. Everybody wanted to get in when the value was low, but was actually pumped it way high temporarily. They dumped. They sold all theirs and left, and then the crypto failed. So I'm just not sure about this here. Now we'll go back up to NBC News. This is what the picture looks like, and the headline is Trump's administration moves to count crypto as a federal mortgage asset. I really would like to hear your opinion on this. Leave me a comment if you think this is great or if you think it's not great or if you just don't know yet. Because again, the proposal, they haven't really heard anything yet. They might do it with a sufficient, they might limit it to a certain percentage, which would be great. I could see that maybe. So I'm open-minded, but it's got the hair on the back of my neck stood up at the moment. So let's go ahead and check out our numbers and get off this line today so you can get back to working and doing something else of your own. Hello, I'm Delbridge of Benchmark Realty, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. If you are currently unrepresented and would like to know how to compare up to 3 properties side by side and room by room, then go over to my new YouTube channel, CallDelToSell. That's 1 L and Del, no spaces. Watch the demo on Real Scout and then call me and we'll set up your exclusive ad-free account today. Well, last week numbers of 6/19 of 25, we had 27,416 in the opportunities. That was up over the previous period. 4677 looks like from my notes. That was down over the previous week. 17% was the ratio between them. See my little notes here? And then we had this week, we went up to 27,780, which is an increase in the opportunities. That also increased, obviously, I just said it did. 4716 is slight increase on the under contract still holding. The ratio held at the integer level of 17%. So yeah, if you guys will take the time, I would be very interested to hear what your thoughts are on taking crypto in on a transaction and not requiring it to be cashed in. So we would say like, okay, I've got $200,000 in, GM, but I don't have it cashed. I'm not cashing it. Don't we need to get this into the transaction at the time of the transaction? Yeah. So I don't know. They're talking about just doing proposals. I don't know. I just would like to hear your ideas and thoughts. And is it good? Is it bad? Does it have the potential to be really good if we did it right? Or do we have some pitfalls? Yeah, you got the idea. Let me know something. Let me know what you think. All right, we got you. We'll see you next week.